she first hit our screens over 20 years ago as shy schoolgirl Nina Tucker in Neighbours. She went on to follow in the footsteps of fellow Ramsay Street residents Kylie Minogue, Jason Donovan and Natalie Imbruglia by pursuing music, topping the charts with hits like this. So here to tell us about the ups and downs of her 20-year career, please welcome Delta Goodrem.
Thank you so much.
How lovely to see you. I mean, 20-year career and you're only 40, aren't you?
Yes,
Very
yes.
recently.
Just getting started.
You're just getting started and so young when you started, Delta. But I was reading about you saying that you believe you manifested your music career from a very young age.
For sure. I mean, I think that when I had first, discovered music and it just really touched my heart, I always found it a wonderful way to express, and I'd sort of found the piano, and that was a natural sort of finding where I just kind of go down and start dancing on the piano.
Your family musical, is that how you kind of got into it?
No, they might tell you something different. They say they're backing vocals in the tracks, but no, I just had a real passion for it straight away, and I loved songwriting.
You used to write your name on the charts.
I did.
Cross out someone else's.
Definitely. So I was signed to Sony when I was about 14, 15 years old, but I had started in TV when I was about 7 years old, just by accident, actually. I just loved being playful. And I did. When I was just signed to Sony, I whited out the ARIA charts, our Australian music charts, and had written my name. But my first song I had out didn't do anything too exciting, but I was like, you know, I feel like if we just keep working hard, and then that first album was the highest-selling album and longest number one in Australia, and it was a very treasured time in my life.
It was huge. And then where did Neighbours come into all that?
Yeah, I mean, I was signed to Sony just before Neighbours, and then I went on as a singer to Neighbours, where we ended up writing a character with Nina and ended up writing Born to Try into that storyline.
And did you miss the music, or had you made that choice then, like, well, I'm going to be an actress now for a while?
I never saw it as one or the other. I was always very much of that it was the arts, and I loved the variety, and I still love the variety, which has been kind of my path ever since then, whether it was we did The Voice. I was a coach on The Voice for 10 years in Australia.
Oh, and do you think you would you still act? Do you still act?
Yeah, we just had I had a Netflix show called Love Is in the Air, which was a movie last year, and that was a really wonderful I mean, you're actresses, so you've been a part of it.
Of course. And also, speaking of actresses, Olivia Newton-John, one of all of our icons,
amazing.
who was also a singer-actress from Australia.
Absolutely. And
she was one of your best friends, right? You got really close?
Yeah, she's been a kindred of mine my whole life. I always looked up to her, loved her as an Australian icon, and when I was diagnosed with cancer, she came into my life and we became just kindreds of anything that we, you know, in her philanthropic ways, and how could I help, how could she help, and we both came together as a team, and also just, she was always my mentor, and
were you starstruck at all when you first met her? Did you feel that?
Well, actually, when I first met her, I was 7 years old.
Oh.
And I was at a cafe in New York, and I saw her walk past. I was with my mum having a hot chocolate, and I went, "There's Sandy, there's Sandy, there's Sandy." She heard my Australian accent and came over and said,
"Oh, she's so lovely."
Hello, Del.
Wow.
She didn't say my name then, but she said hello, and she said, "I hope I see you around tomorrow." Little did she know we were going to see each other.
Because you do get very nervous, don't you, in front of, these kind of celebrities like Chris Martin, who you just seem to lose the ability to speak when he's around.
Look, I have been so honoured to get to collaborate and work with some of the very best. You know, obviously, being on The Voice, we had great panels like Ricky Martin and Seal and Boy George, and strong personalities, but Chris Martin does, you know, I just love that band so much. I think that they are just... they're so inspiring. As a piano girl, I've always just found them to be just exude.
But you said you get nervous and kind of say stupid things.
No, it's embarrassing. Every time I've ever met him, I've always just not been able to. But it comes from such a respect that I turn into not being able to form a sentence, which is happening now. So.
Adorable. It's adorable.
Can I just have a look at your hand a minute?
Yes.
Because I see something very beautiful here. Do you want to tell us about that?
For sure. No, we did get engaged, my partner and I. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel very lucky. I feel the luckiest girl in the world. So.
Where did you meet?
Well, it was through music. It was he was my guitarist. He walked in and we were doing an arena show. It was 2016 in Australia, and we honestly became best friends, and that's really where it came from. And then now we collaborate on everything together. We work on all the shows together. We get to do the tours together and the shows, And
So when you announced your engagement, all the gigs you were doing, everyone was like applauding you, it's like having a big party.
Honestly, it felt like I had done an engagement tour. We had actually done the Innocent Eyes anniversary shows, which is what we're doing, the Mistaken Identity ones at the moment. But we'd done the first one, and every city we went to, you know, I'd grown up in front of Australians very closely. And it honestly felt like we'd actually done an engagement tour and talked about it.
You'll have to do a honeymoon tour next with
You are here because you're playing the Hackney Empire tomorrow.
I am, yes. Very excited.
And the day after. What's tomorrow? Wednesday.
Wednesday and Thursday, yes.
This is your Mistaken Identity. This is your 20th anniversary tour, so that must be very special for you.
It is. We'd learnt this format to play the album top to bottom, and it's such an amazing way because obviously it was the CD 20 years ago, and you listened to every single song and you wanted to read about the stories. And I love being able to be on stage and talk about what we're from a new perspective of right now, and also what did I learn from that moment. And that album had a lot of gravity to it from what had kind of gone on in my life, and looking at it from this perspective and getting to sing and celebrate that music and the record. And it's spent a lot of time here in the UK
and
on
it's
that,
so lovely that you're celebrating. You've still got that passion. You can feel it coming out.
Yes.
It's so lovely.
We have a great time at the shows. It's my favourite place.
Yeah, but I'm sure everyone coming will have a great time. And we're going to be talking about baby names after the break. And your name is very interesting. Tell us how you got your name.
You know what, when I saw you saying about grandparents, I was like, my grandparents, they were also on the train of why are you calling your daughter Delta? So I can safely say they had the same, feeling and reaction. And my parents were staunch. It was from Joe Cocker. The song Delta Lady. Oh, you're mine, yes, you're mine.
So they were at a concert and heard that?
They were at a concert. Yeah, Mum was pregnant and Joe Cocker opened the show with Delta Lady. They loved Joe Cocker. They are not musical.
I bet
I've never heard of another Delta.
I love it. It's a lovely name.
You know,
lovely story, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, have a great tour, the Mistaken Identity tour, Hackney Empire tomorrow and Thursday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank
you very much for having me.